Dragon Age The Veilguard reviews have just dropped and reviews have been all over the place because of some potential review tampering. Oh my god. Not only that, people are complaining about the weirdest controversies I've ever seen in my life. And a YouTuber is getting accused of saying some horrific about the game. I'll be explaining all of that in a moment, but first, let's talk about some of the Dragon Age The Veilguard reviews, specifically from two of my favorite reviewers, Mortismal Gaming and Skillup. These two fellas are some of the most trusted reviewers out there. Mr. Morty San gave a glowing review of Dragon Age The Veilguard, even going as far to say it's his personal game of the year.
As far as I'm concerned, the best entry in the series, and frankly, my own personal game of the year.
That is some high praise right there. I think I'll buy it. On the other hand, fellow Australian Ralph from Skillup said,
Dragon Age The Veilguard is a colossal disappointment. I really can't put it any other way.
Maybe I'll go play Dragon Age Origins instead. But hey, these are just opinions. Doesn't mean someone is lying or someone is wrong. There's no f***ing agenda. Maybe there is, I don't know. Personally, I'm gonna be buying this game and I pray to the gaming gods that it's not a waste of $60 f***ing. However, Skillup's review does have me a little bit shook, because he reviewed Final Fantasy 16 and pooped all over that thing.
I don't like this, and I don't think it's particularly good.
And I thought to myself, no way, he's wrong. That game looks sick. I bought the f***ing thing and got so damn bored of it after 3 bosses. He was right all along. But it's looking like the Veilguard may be a bargain bin game. Here's to hoping. These reviews are just a glimpse at how divisive everything has been about this game. And not only that, it's very hard to even trust a lot of the positive reviews due to the way EA has handled everything. Controversy is everywhere. There have been a fair few big YouTubers that did not receive early review codes but had early hands-on previews of the game and then made their videos about their impressions. Some of their videos were critical about the direction of the game, but far from a negative experience.
We don't have review codes for you, which was weird.
And this is just speculation, but the interwebs are now accusing EA/bioware of suppressing outlets and YouTubers who may have given the game a potentially negative review at release, hand-selecting reviewers to inflate the initial critic roundup. They chose outlets that were safe, I guess you could say.
We're entering a new era of potentially access journalism.
Dragon Age The Veilguard is currently sitting at an 84 Metacritic score as of the recording of this video, and that is most likely to drop in the coming weeks. This whole thing has been nuts. If you haven't already, you need to check out Fextra Life's video on this entire thing. He was one of the channels that got invited to play the preview build of the game, but did not receive a review code, even though he extensively covers Dragon Age related topics. Very, very weird. Pretty sus behavior on EA's part, but this could all be a misunderstanding. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But even more sus behavior came from this mysterious incel account, complaining about the game and sharing screenshots to Twitter before the embargo lifted. This dude child was saying some pretty vile and racy things about the game and just about people in general. And then some cyber sleuth put together that the character from these screenshots on this alt account was the same creator character from MrMattyPlays video, who did give it a pretty negative review. And down the rabbit hole we go. Oh, my knees. In my opinion, I don't think it was him. I don't know why he would do that. He seems like a normal bloke, and his videos are well made and well written, unlike those tweets. And again, look at the contents of these tweets. No one that has anything going on in their lives would bother writing this shit. MrMattyPlays posted a response to all of this, and it sounds like the only thing he's guilty of is picking a shitty editor who could have shared the footage early with someone. I'm not sure, but let me know what you think of this whole situation down below. But let's talk about the actual positives and negatives about Dragon Age The Veilguard to help you decide if you should buy it or not. A lovely Reddit user compiled a list of pros and cons from all the reviews available, and it's got me leaning towards picking up the game. So let's start off with the pros. Storytelling is cinematic. That's good to hear. Very strong ending. That's fantastic. I'm probably not going to finish it, but that's okay, isn't it? Quests don't feel like fetch quests. Now that's a big one for me. Inquisition had some pretty monotonous fetch quests, as do many long RPGs. So that's big if true. More curated structure is a vast improvement over empty busy work zones of DAI. That's a lot of big words for me. I'm going to skip that one. Combat is very active and satisfying. So this is a point of contention and why I also talked about Skillup's review.
The less combat we have to do in Dragon Age Veilguard, the better. Combat's problems are as multi-layered as every other problem in this game, but the core of it is that just as there is no meaningful choice or variation in the RPG side of Veilguard, there's also no choice or variation in the combat model.
He trashed the combat, and even lowered the difficulty just to get through the game. But then again, a lot of the other reviews loved it, so what's going on?
Oddly, I thought this combat system was a lot of fun. more so than I was expecting, and honestly I think it is better than previous games which tried to balance tactics with action as well.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. I'm just gonna have to find out for myself. Lots of depth to different builds due to expansive skill trees and item traits. Sounds like a damn good feature to have in an RPG. Level design is better than Inquisition. No empty wastelands, more focused and rewarding. That's lovely. Companion arcs feel extensive and fleshed out. The whole game is sounding pretty good so far. Let's skip ahead to the negatives, because I'm already sold on this bad boy. Okay, this is a big one. Companions being unable to die in combat, though the combat is designed with this in mind. That does sound like a pretty weird thing to have in this game, and Mortismal Game did actually mention this in his review, and that did stand out to me the most. But yeah, still not a deal breaker. I think a lot of people are going to be upset that you cannot play as your companions, and it's just a solo character focus RPG. Not incorporating many past decisions. Okay, that sounds pretty silly, not a deal breaker for me. I've never finished a single Dragon Age game. I'm pretty sure I played them all, but I have a very short attention span. Can't be outright evil, and companions don't clash as much as Dragon Age Inquisition. That's a bit of a shitty feature to have in a role-playing game, but high enemy aggression all the time made it harder for ranged players. Again, I did see a lot of reviewers complaining about this.
Aggro on enemies can be a problem, especially with your limited potion uses and things.
Just sounds like a weird gameplay design. I don't know. A lot of people say it gets better with ranged characters. I guess a future patch for this, maybe? I don't know. Slightly repetitive enemy variety. The word slightly may be used to sugarcoat this a little bit, because a lot of reviewers mentioned the lack of enemy variety, and people were really dragging the game for that. But they are the most notable pros and cons for Dragon Age The Veilguard. And honestly, the types of RPGs I like playing, this sounds like right up my alley. I'm not a massive fan of the older games. I did play them, I did like them, but I don't think I'm a player that's going to be affected by the changes they've made. But it sounds like if you're a fan of the older bioware IPs, this may be very disappointing to hear. Many reviewers who played the preview build of the game compared the combat and loot system to God of War, which I absolutely love. So that's a huge positive for me. However, just because it's like something good doesn't mean it is good. It's just like saying Forspoken is like Infamous. Interesting parkour systems in both games, but one is absolute garbage with a talking bracelet. Also, one big negative about the game that I didn't see in this list is the art style. And I don't mean the general art style, whether you like it or not is subjective. I don't mind it at all, besides one thing. Good God, did they ruin the design of the Quinari? I don't know how to pronounce it. Hey, what the f is this? Look at the designs from the past games. They look sick, they look different, and they definitely don't look like humans with massive foreheads and bones stuck on the top. Seems like someone was reading too much Sarah J. Maas novels and got too excited when designing some of these characters. Not everything has to look perfect made out of f***ing marble. But again, not a deal breaker. But there is a huge deal breaker for certain people when it comes to dialogue choices. Some angry people on the interwebs are very upset with the choice you have with your identity, as there is a moment in the game when you can come out to your companions as trans or non-binary. Some people have been calling this woke garbage. I don't know why people care this much. It is a role-playing fantasy game. It's giving you the option to play as whoever you want. Is that not a good thing in a role-playing game? You don't have to play like the other people are playing. The only issue is that, from what I saw, is that a lot of the writing ain't very good. Like, the choice of words they use doesn't really fit the setting of the game. But, again, I don't really know what the fuck I'm talking about. But I do think it's stupid to hate on the fact that this is in the game. If you complain about the execution of how they did it and some of the poorly written dialogue, I can see that, but I'll have to wait and play the game. More options to roleplay as someone, whether it's a he, she, they, dwarf, elf, not Quinari, or human, that's f***ing awesome. It's what RPGs are about, I think. My final point is that people just need to relax. But obviously that's not gonna happen. And honestly, I'm just hoping I don't waste $60 on this game. Anyways, that's it. I'm a drama channel now. Bye-bye.